The following program contains coarse language, a lot like real life. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, yeah, it's that time again. I am the wolf. We are dancing with wolves. Tonight's episode number 90. Art for Sickos. Gonna get my brother Doug McDonald on here. Gonna go a little tweaky, but Doug's a really cool guy. Very well spoken. Got an incredible heart, and it's got some incredible art that we're gonna go through and talk about tonight. As those of you who were here for the opening, yes, there's a little bit of an opening. And it is courtesy of my brother Brian Judah, who kind of implanted on me the need for the disclaimer. So, and part of that credit goes to Teresa, Tyler, and John of Hollowell. Last week we did a side quest of Yoko Ono, so I kind of had to splice in a little bit of her fucking madness into that disclaimer, because, you know,
emotional damage
is quite real. Okay, so sometimes we have to share it. This show, again, Dancing with Wolves, is brought to you in part by generous underwriting from Mary Jane's over in Bassam, New York, Bloomingdale Road over in the Tonawanda Reservation. My brother Bear and his family graciously supporting what we do out here. Ironically, again, the one guy who can't take advantage of the fucking nonprofit status of the radio station, or that is one of the few people who's like, yeah, I want to support what you're doing. So much love to him and everybody out there. It is greatly appreciated. And again, the views, thoughts, expressions, opinions, everything like that are mine and mine alone unless somebody else shares it. Take what you need, leave the rest behind. Yes, sometimes there's language. Sometimes we talk about odd stuff. those of you playing the home version, and if you're looking at the video podcast, you'll see one of my brother Doug's pieces of art and Captain Cheeto there. Make America Hate Again. I thought it was a great fucking piece. We're going to talk more about that, what inspired him, what the art for Sickos is really about. Because again, and I've talked about this a lot, and I've talked about Doug with this, and we're going to get into this part. Art imitates life. Life imitates art. This is the yin and yang, the flip side to the coin, whatever words you want to fucking put on it. This is the reality that we live in. Now, we can all selectively create our own reality. And, obviously, if you want to identify as a platypus and get into that end of the spectrum, you know what? What you do is what you do, as long as it's not hurting or fucking with somebody else. But also, if you're going to put it out there publicly, you really open the door for the rest of us to be like, and we will. Okay. A lot of times, and this has been something that I've made it a point to kind of go back to, these elements are old. They're old constructs. They're old conditioning. They're old patterns that have just kind of been passed on from generation to generation like fucking herpes. And we all, stand around and wonder why. Well, there's a reason. So, and I tap into the spirit of Carlin on this. We got to cut through the bullshit. We got to have the honest, hard conversations. We have to get into the Contini context. Much love to my brother Ed Contini. He's one of the DJs over at Rochester Free Radio, WRFZ 106.3 FM. He's got a show Thursdays, 3 to 5 p.m. called Over the Edge. My brother Brian Judah is mentioned. He's also got a show on Sundays called Rock in the Rock. And then Tuesday afternoons, he's got Vintage Strings, which is a really cool kind of historical archive. There's a whole bunch of other really great shows. You can go to rochesterfreeradio.com. You can hit on the schedule, and you can see all these different types of show. And there are a lot of different angles. My brother Lee Frisbee, he takes a little bit different of a perspective. You have my brother Logan, DJ Shadow. He dances on another end of the spectrum. Jeff Moulton, he's got his Saturday Night Oldies stuff. You got Armand in the dead of the night kind of doing his thing. You got Steve Litzkak on Saturdays. The Baron doing the Rock and Roll Rumble. You got Tamara McDuff doing her Sunday show, Rock Voices. So there's a lot of really wild stuff. You got Cup of Joe. I haven't really gotten to know them too well, but I was really impressed by their efforts, especially over this Veterans Day weekend, to really make it a point to make a difference. And it's something I talk about, something I've been involved with for many years. Last night on a radio show, I had my brother Tony Rodriguez on, and just as we went live, of course, he had to drop the fucking F-bomb, but hey, welcome to the wonderful world we live in. If it had been out here, it would have been no big fucking deal, because we can fuckity fuck all we want. But FM, yeah, no, we can't do that. So I have to sterilize everything over there, and then, thank God, the next day, I can just let it all rip here on the podcast. So as mentioned, I'm going to have Brother Doug join us in a few minutes. I wanted to talk about some of the local bands and stuff that I've gotten to know. These are people that I support and that have been supporting, the radio station, the podcast, and everybody else within the communities. And not everybody lives right next to each other. So this band I'm going to talk about was from the Rockin' Oddities Con over Halloween weekend a couple of weeks ago. And these were some really great guys, okay? And when you listen to a band, a lot of times, you get an idea what they're about. But ultimately, music is only a part of who a person is. Now, the band I'm talking about is Alloy Rain. I spent a lot of time with Joe and Jay, just really talking about, not only the music stuff, but life stuff, kids, perceptions of the world, some of the bullshit that we all have to contend with. And let me tell you, all of these guys across the board, really humble, really gracious, and authentic. It's a word I like to use. There are a lot of really beautiful, authentic people from that weekend, not just bands, but my sister, Jem, who put the whole thing together, Erica, who was running around, trying to keep everything in tune, the vampire witch, Heather, she's just fucking energy, and, she don't fuck around. She's on her way back from the mist of Avalon, doing her dance out there. Looking forward to having her back on in 2024 and seeing her again, either through the Mind, Body, Soul Expos or, yes, indeed, Rock Oddities is coming back. We're going to do it in Rochester. We're going to do it in Saratoga Springs. Jem's concept is to get this thing all over the place, get it popping up everywhere, support local music, support local artists, hashtag artists supporting artists. Okay? It's not rocket science. Okay? We don't always have the time or the resources to be able to go everywhere, but you can go on social media. You can go to places like Facebook and YouTube and all these other places like TikTok. You can give them a like. You can say, hey, thanks for what you do, especially if you like the stuff. And a lot of us, including myself, we put the stuff out here for free. Okay? So take advantage of that. Use it. Take what you need, leave the rest behind. But if you can give a little something back, and more importantly, again, especially in the narrative of whatever's going on in your local community, the guys in the 518 scene, they're not just musicians, and, like I mentioned, they're family guys. They do charity work. They do media work to promote other people within the scene. Even if it's just a couple dollars out of your pocket or a few minutes, dropping off some cans of soup at the local food bank, anything that you do makes a difference. Don't let anybody convince you otherwise, okay? It all helps. So to whatever degree you can do something, and, I can guarantee you just the thought alone of making a difference in somebody's life defines us. This is what really shines. All the words, it's blah, blah, blah. It's bullshit. But when you actually go out there and you do something, even if it's something small, that's real. That's tangible. So much love for these guys. You can definitely check them out. Facebook, YouTube. They got a bunch of stuff going on. Great band. So we're going to pop one of their tracks called Broken Dreams. I'm going to go grab my brother Drug, and then we're going to come back and we're going to get sicko with some fucking art. So stick around. We'll be back.
Of tomorrow, we sleep together, what could be? Once again, giant of the sorrow, this never-ending catastrophe. Despair, it screams. I am the master of my broken, lost control. It seems I am the master of my broken dreams. Time and time again, I'm at an impasse. After the goal's been reached, maybe this time it's for real. It's not a stale.
All right, yeah. So we're back. That was a little bit, as I said, Alloy Rain, Broken Dreams, really great band from the 518 scene. They were at the Rock and Oddities Con. You'll see them around a lot more. And again, as mentioned, Brother Doug McDonald is not just a musician, he's also an incredible artist, all around groovy guy. Doug, say hello to everybody floating around the internet tonight.
Hello, internet people.
Yes. So it looks like you got some action going on at home too.
Oh yeah.
Fun never ends, does it?
I know.
So yeah, we were bullshitting a little bit before we came on, and obviously one of the conversations you and I have talked about is the old Carlin analogy about language and how we're limited and restricted and kind of squeezed and censored depending upon where we are in any given fucking time.
Oh,
and tonight is you can fuckity fuck it all you want. That is the beautiful thing of the wild, wild internet, is that
Yes.
we have no FCC to say, hey, don't say that. I mean, obviously we can't get stupid and pull our dicks out. Not that we would anyway, but
Right.
but the same analogy, we can talk about, hey,
Yeah.
fucking Louis
My mouth
C.K.,
always
don't
slips.
be an asshole. Don't pull your dick out. You know what I mean?
'Cause my mouth will always slip one way or another.
Well, I mean, that's what happened to me last night. I had my buddy Tony on, and as soon as we went live, he dropped the F-bomb.
Right.
It's in his fucking DNA. He couldn't help it. It came out. I danced around it like, oh, nothing to hear here. Let's go to and did my best. But it is inevitable sometimes. And it is reflective, I think, to many degrees of a deeper honesty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it does reflect a lot of times what we're feeling. That type of language reflects, you know what I mean, intensity, you know what I mean, the emotional framework. It's like, fuck.
Yes, right.
So
Nothing gets the point across like that word. That's for sure.
So tell us a little bit, and we have the Make America Hate Again image that you did. I used that one for the promo, and I used that one to open up the show because I absolutely fucking love it. I was just like, this is just fucking such a great art, regardless of wherever you are on the political spectrum. But,
Right.
but where did that come from? What inspired you in the moment to pull that particular rabbit out of the hat?
Well, that was an assignment I did for, I think it was Houston. I used to work for a lot of the weeklies when I started. Well, actually, I still work for them every once in a while. And that was a story about Trump trying to kill the arts. And the art director said, just do your thing, man. Go for it. He was taking funding away from the arts. So I was, obviously as an artist, I'm like, fuck that, man. That ain't cool.
So I mean, you captured a dynamic that, and a lot of people sometimes take this for granted. Most of the things that have driven society sideways or into the gutter has always stemmed from this, let me tell you how to live, how to talk,
Right.
you know what I mean, what you get to listen to, you know what I mean, who you get to love, this kind of really one-dimensional kind of alternate reality thing.
Yep.
And you have it framed, and for those of you at home that don't recognize where some of that injury, I mean, that is a fascist kind of representation right out of World War II. You know what I
pretty
mean?
much.
And you put it with the guitar, and then you got little pentagrams above the flag. So you really combined not only the political element, but the historical element.
Yeah.
And I love the guitar, just kind of, you can see the payola, the cash right underneath it, and the flames just fucking everywhere, and it just, to me,
well, nothing pulls, but nothing yanks. I mean, nothing gets me more than when if people are taking funding away from the arts and all that. Man, I go crazy. It wasn't even about. I mean, I hate all politicians really, so it doesn't matter. But
yeah, you and I agree on that. That's the Carlin philosophy. None of them give a shit about us.
Yeah,
It's all bullshit.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't follow any party or anything like that. But all I know is like that ticked me off, and I was like taking a shot at it. And that's why I like working for a lot of the alternative newspapers. They hire me because they know I'm going to really push the button. And I did some stuff for the Village Voice, and I got a ton of hate mail off of it, and I love that stuff.
I was just going to ask you. You just read my mind. I was like, this one must have there was somebody somewhere that must have fucking gotten triggered when this one
yeah.
hit the press.
Oh yeah, I got some nasty posts on people stopped following me and a lot of stuff. I got some serious hate on that one, but I got some serious love too, man. I was like, all right, whatever. That's what I love about art. Art is supposed to disturb you and wake you up, man. If it's, nothing worse than art that's just, I go to a museum and look at the art and I'm bored out of my mind. But if you show me something, I want to see something strikingly make me think a little bit,
And it's not bad sometimes. I mean, again, there are levels of offensive, and depending upon who you are, obviously that will translate differently. But in its purest element, it is satirical. It is comedic. By those very definitions, they're not meant to, per se, be like, okay, obviously, I think we can both agree, and it's safe to say that the guy probably doesn't have, pig DNA. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So we can agree on the little things. It's not supposed to represent. I don't think that there's a satanic influence within the government. Like I would have preferred like the white Jesus right above there. I think that would have been a better dynamic, but that's just me because of my little nuances. But some of it also too has those little hidden things like the money. The money's just hanging out right there, and that's always the core of a lot of this bullshit is money.
Oh, it's all about money.
You know what I mean? Make people
that's the whole
hate.
existence.
Yeah, right. Divide them, get them all spun out. Oh, look, somebody's sucking somebody's dick, and everybody's running, sideways. And then they're fucking us on the back end when we're not paying attention.
Right. And as an artist, the word starving artist is real, man. I haven't made a fortune with art, man, but I love doing it. And I know the artists always get screwed. It's just the way it is.
But that's also reflected to some degrees of your music, not only,
absolutely,
in like some of what we talked about in the choices that you made with doing the Mick and Mac show, the outlaw country stuff, but what you used to do within the metal scene, because you're a metal guy at heart.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was out in L.A. for years. I played in a metal band out there in Atlanta, L.A., Las Vegas. We were all over the place. Yeah, I'm a metal guy totally, but I've always loved that old outlaw country too, and it was the right time to do it. But I never did it because I played. Listen, if you're going to play metal or you're going to play stuff like alternative punk, you're never going to. Kurt Cobain never set out to be a rock star, and that's why he
fucking destroyed him. I think too, right?
Destroyed him.
Yeah.
Right. That's not what he wanted. I understand I really identify with him because you just want to get your music out there. You don't want, and if you're playing that kind of music, you're not looking to be the next Britney Spears or Taylor Swift. You play that's anti-establishment music, metal and punk. It's against the system. It's against the record companies and the corporate scumbags that are out there. That's the whole reason we play that music, because we're angry and we hate those corporate scumbags. And I dealt with all those record people, and they're all pieces of shit, all of them. They're liars. They look right in your face and lie to you while they stab you in the back, man.
Yep, these are the same guys that I suspect that are hanging in airport bathrooms and. All of a sudden you hear a little tap 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 and what I mean, and then they'll be the first ones to go on TV and be like, these people are destroying the morality of our children, and it's just like, really, what the fuck,
right.
And sometimes it goes absolutely horrible. I don't know if you heard about the story. I think it was in Mississippi, a guy who was a mayor of a town who liked to cross-dress and play that way, but was also coincidentally a pastor. Got
always those guys.
Well, listen, the story goes really bad because he got outed, and I guess it was just too much, and he offed himself in the process. And it's just like, this is the cycle of insanity that I think a lot of folks have become apathetic to, because we see so much craziness around us on a daily basis that you look at this is a guy who his own faith pretty much degraded anybody whose sexuality wasn't, based on the standard heterosexual model, but he was compelled internally to be that way. And as soon as that shit came to light, it fucking destroyed him. You know what I mean? And you have to imagine, that somewhere along the line, there were people, family members, that loved the guy, that actually cared him. So, it's this tragedy / comedy that you just, I think, you can't just let it roll by without at least, to some degree saying, hey, you know what I mean? We have to do fucking better than this, man. We cannot.
Oh, and the thing is, as far as being a musician and an artist, we're so lucky to have that outlet to get our stuff out there, all my weird shit comes out in my art, subliminal, whatever it is, that way I don't have to have any dark secrets. I'm not, what to say, what you hide in the dark eventually comes to the light.
Oh, yeah.
Like the BTK killer, that guy. He was
Now, one of the other ones I pulled up, this is the one from your Facebook page. It's kind of like the Frankenstein with the candles and stuff like that. He's got that really toothy kind of grin.
yeah.
Now, obviously, this is a takeoff of a classic Frankenstein analogy. Was there anything else in there when you did this one? Where did this one come from of the bowels of your experience, as they say?
See the one? Is that the one in the coffin?
No, that's the one with it looks like his ears or wings, kind of. They got the candles on them.
Oh yeah, the bat Frankenstein.
Yeah,
the bat Frankenstein. That I don't know where I came up with that. I just came up with I love horror movies, so that, and then I put that on the front of my van. It's on the front of my van hood. That came out because I was doing, that's what it was. I was doing all the graphics for my van. I was doing all the illustration work for my rolling van, the art store, and it actually fit. So that's why I put wings on them.
Nice.
Yeah, there's nothing too deep there. I was like, oh yeah, it'll fit on there if I put wings on it.
For everybody at home who's watching, and for those of you who can't see, Art for Sickos, okay, it's DougMart.com. And
Doug Mac Art.
Doug Mac Art. Okay, there it is. Doug Mac Art, and it's MACCART.com.
Yeah, Doug Mac Art. Yeah, Doug Mac, DougMacArt.com.
And I'm going to throw up here some of the other stuff. You've got a T-shirt madness thing going on, and that's the promo that I got up right now.
Yeah, T-shirt sale going on for the holidays.
And you got Brother Bill Mosley over there from the Devil's Rejects House of 1,000 Corpses says, buy D-Mac merch or I will kill you.
Yeah, I met Bill some years back at a horror convention. And he came over to but we both used to work for Girls and Corpses magazine. I was an illustrator for that magazine for 10 years, and Bill used to do a lot of work for the magazine too. He was like the cover. He'd do pictures on the cover and like with the models and stuff. So we met through the magazine, and then we were at a conference together. And he came over to the table, and we started talking and bought a couple shirts. And good guy.
Now I already know, because I bought some shirts for you, that these aren't like your Walmart fucking, you know what I mean, ran through some shitty press in the fucking Philippines somewhere. These are all custom. These are all custom, high quality. One of the ones I grabbed was the Sicker Than Others. I thought that was a fucking great
Thanks.
concept. What was the story? And let me see if I can find that one real quick. Well, all right. We'll just throw your logos up there with the guitar stuff up there. There we go. Take over the screen. Where was the inspiration for the Sicker Than Others? Because that one was a little bit different than some of the other ones. You went with just a couple of really vibrant colors, the purple, the white, and the black, versus a lot of your other stuff is just colors fucking galore. But that one was just more of a, just a kind of an old school, it's got the great skeleton analogy. The Sicker Than Others, is that reflective of something that just came to you, or was that like a concept?
It's a crazy. I mean, I'm crazy. I have to be to do what I do. So somebody told me that you're sicker than most people, man. I've heard a few comments and Art for Sickos, and like, yeah, you are pretty sick. Then I said, you're right, man. So I figured if you're gonna, if I'm gonna kill myself, I better do it with two guns. The first one might not work.
Right. All right. So that's really what it was. If the first one doesn't get the job right, then the second one will.
Second one, man. Yeah. Believe me, if I want to kill I won't kill myself, because I'm always afraid I'll live like a freaking, like a monster or something. So if I'm gonna do it right, man.
All right. Let me go to number 5 here, because this is one of the ones I got for my son, the Cat Fink Rat Killers.
Ah,
Now, you and I both know, obviously, that this is a subtle nod to Iron Maiden, the Eddie analogy, the Killers album, obviously.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just a really great play off of it. And the 4.5 Lives. What's the story behind that? Why 4.5 Lives?
Well, the Cat Fink, I created the Cat Fink because anytime I'm out at a show or stuff, people will come up to me and they'll be like, "Oh, hey man, I like your work. It reminds me." And I'm like, "Don't even say it. Reminds me of the Rat Fink. I know. I get it all the time." Which they mean it as a compliment. And Ed Roth, he was the Rat Fink, back in the '60s. His art, and he was definitely an influence. I'd definitely say, I wouldn't say he was my main influence, but he was an influence. I've seen his work. But I never set out to be like him. But I get it all the time. So finally, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm sick of this Rat Fink stuff. I'm creating the Cat Fink to kill this stupid ass rat.
By fire with fire, right?
Yeah, right. So finally, my revenge was like, all right. Every time I got the Cat Fink out, he's killing the rat or eating it or butchering it somehow. And then the 4.5 Lives, he already killed 4 of them. So everything's got to do with dying and death and in my work somewhere. I'm obsessed with it. So
I noticed you got the little cat club, underneath there, and you know what I mean, and just the little subtle things, you know what I mean, that you pick on, and you made a great point. And it's the same thing with music. You can only play an E chord so many different ways. You can be creative in timing and melodies, but everything is based off of a kind of static framework. You have musical notes, you have palettes of colors, you have shapes and lines. So, to some degrees, everything does, in a way, reflect everything else. It just, again, perspective and variations. So I have to imagine, and I know I've gone through this musically, you'll start playing something and then all of a sudden your head and be like, oh, God damn, that's the fucking Butthole Surfers. Because,
right.
you listened to the song 3 weeks ago, somehow it got fucking bedded in your head. And then all of a sudden it starts to come out, in a jam and stuff. But it's almost inevitable in some ways because these are the things, like you said, that influenced us.
Yeah, that Iron Maiden artwork totally influenced me. I think we talked about that last time, how much I love the artwork in Iron Maiden and how I'd buy records just because of the artwork. So, and I was influenced hugely by the records in the 70s and 80s that, before internet, you'd go into the store and you'd see a cool album. You didn't know who the band was, but the art was cool. And I'm like, shit, I'm buying that. That's cool.
Well, the music industry was where a lot of artists really could be creative. You look at, a lot of bands would use different artists, some of them underground, some of them obviously became more. H.R. Crumb famously did Janis Joplin's Big Brother and the Holding Company album.
Yeah, that's one to put him on the map.
You know what I mean? So there are examples, you see elements of framework with, Emerson, Lake and Palmer or Pink Floyd.
Yeah, I love that.
Even the Beatles to some degrees started experimenting with it, with, obviously Sgt. Pepper, but it does, I think, show the correlation. I always talk about it in the term of magic, but that energy, they cross, it is part of the creative process. So many times, you'll have a concept album that the artwork is actually better than the fucking music. You know what I mean? You'll just
I think of Pink Floyd, The Wall, where the art in the album was so great. I wanted more of that artwork. It was so great. Those illustrations were so incredible. The characters that they created for The Wall, man, it just blew my mind. That was a huge influence too. And as a matter of fact, we're talking about Crumb. You know how much he sold that artwork for to the record company for that Janis Joplin album?
Oh, I'd imagine it's like a 6-pack.
$650. And he sold the rights to it and everything.
Yep. Yeah, and that thing will keep making money until nobody's listening to fucking music anymore.
Right. He doesn't get a dime off it.
But that's also that is the subtle irony between musicians and artists, writers, poets. You know what I mean? It is not, really something that very, very few people actually become quote unquote famous to the degree that they, make that, next level type of living.
Right.
And ironically, most of the time it doesn't happen until they fucking die. You know what I mean?
Much.
So
pretty much,
you know,
I've been fortunate, but I've been doing this, making a living out of it for 20 years. I've been just living off my art, man. I've been really lucky to been able to do it, because I know a lot of my friends, man, that are artists, never still have to work day jobs and do all that stuff.
Well, you've taken it and you've applied the practical business element, because you do the things that you love and you enjoy, and obviously that you need to keep the sanity balance. But you'll do things on spec, you'll do things on the consultant type of thing.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
mentioned obviously, some of these things were, contracted for a particular story or a particular element, be it a newspaper or a magazine or whatever. So you found a way to kind of, be in the middle of the road so you can have both ends of the spectrum and, obviously not have to go work the street corner and try and survive out there.
Because living off your own art without commission work, good luck. I got 95% of my work is commission work. I work for companies and I work for magazines or bands, whatever. I do a ton of work. All my work, and if you go to the website, is mostly stuff I've done for other people. But that's what I like doing the best anyways. But you're right. I got to do what I do too to keep my sanity. That's why I go do the shows and sell my artwork. It's kind of like I have a split personality, I guess. Like I did a job today. I delivered to a garage, and they wanted this character that was cute and cuddly. And I don't do cute and cuddly, man, but I had to do it because I had to pay the rent this month.
So, sometimes it is a little bit of the compromise, but also, too, it's what allows you to do the other things. I noticed
exactly.
You did one for Steve Litzak for the Rock and Roll Rumble show.
Yes, I did, because Steve's going through a lot of shit.
Yeah, well, he's
stuff and cancer.
Double dose of the cancer. Yeah.
So, and I love Steve. His band hired me to do something. So I was thinking, I wanted to do something for him.
And sometimes it's the little things that, will make the difference. And, also, too, it reflects the connections, the stories, the influences, you know what I mean? Art imitates life, life imitates art.
Well, I love his band, man. I love the Tombstone Hands, and Steve knows that. And I love his guitar playing, and he's become a very good friend over the years. And just, he's another guy like us, supportive and just.
Oh, yeah. He and I have had a couple of conversations. We were trying to get him out there for the 7th. He just, wasn't able to. Quite turn the corner, and hopefully 2024 will be better. He'll have the strength and the drive, and we'll get him back out there on stage and stuff like that. I want to go back to I have this really kind of like a spacey one. It's got the pink chick in the corner, and then the green chicks in the tubes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
it looks like something out of Rick and fucking Morty.
Yeah, the spaceship. Yeah, that's a blacklight poster right now. That's one of mine I did for my merch section, and I do limited run posters. Like there's 50 of that poster, and I sold most of them. I think I got a few left, but that's all beautiful ink, silk screen from a company out in San Francisco that does it. They're top notch, and it's just it's a blacklight poster like the old ones, man. It lights. You throw a light on that thing and it pops.
So what was the influence behind this one? This one obviously was more of a creative one for you.
Yeah.
What inspired that one for you?
I think I just went for it, man. I mean, I don't know what I was doing. I was probably cranking some weird music or something. I started sketching, and then I love aliens. And I was like, I always want to do like a weird spaceship, and I was probably watching some kind of weird horror movie.
Those aren't you just ordinary aliens. I mean, the one chick, she's got the 3 titties thing going. She's kind of bent over like, hey baby, and then you got the green skin. Now me and you kind of came up in the same way. My first real kind of, I guess you could say, TV crush was the Orion slave girl from Star Trek, from the original series.
Yes.
When I saw her come out with the green skin, I was just like, hormones.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, man.
You know what I mean? So I was looking at that. I was like, green aliens with titties. You know what I mean? It's just like, it doesn't get any better. And then obviously, if it's a blacklight thing, those titties are going to glow.
Yes. Oh my God, they light up crazy. I got that and another one. I did a series of 2 of them. That was during the pandemic. I think I drew that because I was just had a lot of time on my hands, and I was working my ass off drawing. I didn't have a lot of work. I don't think that during that, and that was able to give me a chance to do a bunch of stuff I wanted to do.
Oh, dude, I produced a whole fucking album during the pandemic, so I did it. I just was losing my mind.
Right. So it really gave me creative freedom to do whatever I wanted. So that's why I put those black light posters out. And I also did the serial killer poster, the hometown heroes of Rochester. So yeah, I've always loved black light posters when I was a kid.
So a bunch of this stuff right now is on the DougMacArt.com site.
Yes.
The t-shirts, some of them you're doing as a special discount right now, but you've also got a couple of those, I guess we'll call them limited edition posters and thing. And now you were also talking before the show. You originally you had put the old Kalamazoo guitar up for sale, and then you changed your mind and you're like, yeah, fuck that, I'm keeping it.
I took it down.
Took it down.
Because I got paintings I've done too, and every once in a while I think about selling them. Then I change my mind.
I was just gonna say you pulled some of this stuff also as well too. You don't want to let it go right now, still, do you?
No. I got some paintings and I'm not ready to get rid of them yet. I mean, if the price was right, I'd think about it, but I probably still wouldn't do it.
But this is the place for people who want to, check it out, maybe get a t-shirt for themselves or somebody else, but also for, anybody who's listening and is part of a band or, a comedy group or any number of things. You do custom design stuff for bands, be it, for a t-shirt logo design or for an album design or pretty much any type of, kind of side spec type of concept that they have.
Yeah, that's what I do, man. I take band, if it's a band and I dig the band, I love working with them, man. So I've done lots of metal bands, country bands, shit. I did Luke Combs. I did a job for him, and anywhere from Alice in Chains to Luke Combs, man. I've done work for all these artists, but I love working with the bands that are new too, the young guys that are on fire, that are making metal bands, whatever. So as long as I dig the music, I'll work with you.
Well, again, the one that's in the corner of the T-shirt madness, Killed by Death. Where did that one come from? Because that's a really cool black and white image there.
That was a Lemmy thing I did. Because Lemmy was always he had a song Killed by Death. I think it was a movie too, an old movie from like the 30s and 40s. And then Lemmy wrote a song Killed by Death.
And so that's what it's basically the Ace of Spades analogy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice way to kind of pay homage to it without getting the copyright people all pissed off and having them come after your ass and stuff like that.
Well, that was a piece I did. Exactly. It was a piece I did for Girls and Corpses magazine too. When Lemmy died, they did an issue for, a tribute issue to Lemmy. And I had done the drawing already. So then I split, I can't keep a Lemmy on it. So I'm going to put Killed by Death and they'll figure the rest out. That's how I get away with that.
Nice.
Unless it's a licensing deal. Like I've done deals with poster companies like for AC/DC and Willie Nelson. Those were licensing deals I did artwork for. But I can't, they sell those. I don't sell those.
Well, yeah, but you listen, as an artist, regardless if it's music or art or whatever, there are obviously these elements within the system that you kind of have to dance around them, or else, let's be blunt, you get fucked.
Oh, exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You'll get fucked from either end of the spectrum if you cross too far and somebody's like, hey, you're infringing on my thing. But also in the same analogy, if you don't protect yourself, somebody else will be like, hey, that's cool, it's mine now, and I'm going to go make money on it, and fuck you, you're not getting a penny.
Yeah. I've seen my work over in like Japan or places like that. People selling my shirts, trying to sell my shirts for this ridiculous amount of money. I was like, why? Or the Luke Combs poster I did. These collectors buy the posters from me, and then they mark them up and put them on eBay.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's weird.
Well, I mean, like when I released one of my tracks last year, I actually had somebody from India try and do a copyright flag on it. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it was literally just something so obscure. It was like 7 seconds of like some particular word I used. They were trying to be like, this is my word, you can't. And it was just like, get the fuck out of here. It's like, and I went through the process. I went through a detail. I made sure before anything went out there, I filed the copyright paperwork, made sure I got the reply back from them saying, yes, we have accepted your documentation. here is your copyright documentation so that there could be no fucking confusion. Because like you said, I know a lot of people through the years that have gotten fucked on that. They'll put something out there and it's good. Maybe it's the words, maybe it's the music. The next thing you know, somebody else is taking it, and, you know, there's nothing you can do if you don't jump through their hoops.
Yeah, if you don't protect yourself and your art, man. But it's always the way it's going to be. Every artist steals from each other. It's just the way it is.
Well, I mean, some of it is, you know, the old analogy that, you know, it is a form of flattery when you're copying.
Yes.
But there's a thin line between that and just basically ripping somebody the fuck off.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I've been influenced by a lot of different artists, but I don't blatantly go rip them off, man. I try not to do that.
But some of these are characters. I mean, again, it's kind of hard. You know, you look at an iconic character like Frankenstein. He has been played from so many different ways, you know, Herman Munster to Boris Karloff to Christopher Lee to, you know, Robert De Niro played fucking Frankenstein.
Yeah, Frankenstein's public property now. Anybody can touch Frankenstein. It's good luck trying to get a copyright on that. So,
well, that's the weird thing with it. It is, what is it now, 70 years from their death?
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's the standard.
It's nuts, man. But yeah, that's the thing. And I love drawing Frankenstein because I can interpret it my own way. And he's just a great character. It's an incredible character.
Right. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a Frankenstein quite exactly like yours, but you can see it and obviously make the correlation with the way the head is designed. You know, there's certain little nuances about those angles. You know, the bolts in the neck, you know what I mean? That, you know, it's kind of like the witch's bent nose or, you know, the black cat, the cauldron, you know, these are all visual, you know, stereotypes that, you know, how, you know, you can't really put a fucking copyright on a black cat and a cauldron.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to copyright the letter A, and nobody can use the letter A anymore. You have to take it out of your fucking names.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
So there has to be a semblance of sanity somewhere in between there.
Somebody should have some in this crazy world.
Well, I mean, it's asking a lot, we both know, but we can at least have that fucking conversation and say, hey, listen, it's not rocket science. What are your views? And one of the things I wanted you to talk about, this line now between obviously the pay to play elements of online music, but also how it reflects now with the pay to play mentality within the clubs and the venues for bands. If, you know, obviously we're talking about bands that, you know, don't have major record, you know, company label backing and shit like that.
Oh, it's when I first moved out to LA, it was during when I first got out there, it was pay to play. You had to buy your tickets and then you had to sell them. That's the way it was. At least that's the way it was in Hollywood. You know, most clubs. And then so I said, there's no way I'm paying to play. It ain't going to happen. So we had to find the underground clubs that they weren't paying to play. Like, you know, we played the Coconut Teaser or Whiskey actually had a jam on Monday nights where you didn't have to pay to play. They just picked it up. There's ways to get around it. You know, there was, at least in LA. And then we played the clubs in the Valley or we played the clubs in Orange County, but paying to play is ridiculous. I would never, ever do it. Wouldn't happen. The one time it did happen is we played the Troubadour and they fronted us the tickets. They gave us like 100 tickets to go sell. And, you know, but we didn't have to pay for them. They said, you need to sell these. And we sold a bunch of them. But even if we didn't, there was like no way we were going to pay them. We didn't have any money. We were a bunch of broke ass musicians.
No doubt. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, but a lot of these cats did, man. They paid to play, but I wasn't going to, no freaking way. It ain't going to happen, man. Because if you're a good band, you don't have to do that, man. You don't have to pay to play.
But what about the bands? And let's, you know, have again the honest conversation that don't have quite the following yet. Maybe they're newer, maybe they're within a genre subset that you and I both know rarely, if ever, gets any kind of fucking airplay or exposure. Right. Where is the fine line? Because I know you had talked about it on Judah's show when you guys were on about the difficulty in just being able to get out there and play.
Yeah, we can't get a gig anywhere in town doing our acoustic thing, so we're finding different ways to do it. We're doing, I mean, the House Guitars is amazing. We can play there anytime we want because they're just great. They're incredible guys, and they support the music scene. But most clubs they got these cliques going on, especially in the cover world here. They got those cliques of these bands that are pretty much running the show. And, so I find different ways. We're playing Record Archive, which is great. They're awesome. You send your demo to them, they'll have bands to play. And there's ways to go around it and go to alternative venues, and when the mainstream venues won't have you, and I don't know, man. It is definitely different than I was doing the acoustic thing probably maybe 10 years ago, and I was getting gigs all over the place. And then I called these places back with the Mick and Mac show, and they don't want to touch us. And I was like, all right, well, either they don't like the stuff we're playing, which I don't really care. First I got mad. I was like, fuck these assholes, fuck you, man. It's like, well, then I was like, no, don't get mad. Just go do your own thing. And then I was like, you know what? We'll find the places to play, and the right places will open up. And shit, if we got to rent a VFW or a coffee shop, like I'm just
thinking, that's some of what we've been talking about, what we've been doing with the radio station, indirectly with the podcast, Rockin' Oddities. There is a growing underground push to go back to the old school analogy, self-producing shows, like you said, just saying, okay, you know what? We'll buy the venue. Okay, we're gonna cut you out of it, since this is how you want to play, pay to play. Then we'll do it that way,
right?
And people enjoy it more. I've been seeing what's been happening, and granted, it's only a small snapshot, but I've seen it happen in a few different places. I've seen it down in the Jersey Shore area with the stuff that I was doing down there. I've seen it up here through the radio station. I saw it in Saratoga Springs with the Rockin' Oddities Con. Is it perfect? Obviously not, but it's a good place to begin, because it is the old analogy, strength in numbers. You have bands, you have different people, small businesses, artists, witches, whatever the case may be, coming together to support these dynamics, to draw people together within those common elements. You paranormal and fucking investigators and snake massages, and then sicko art, and you see where I'm going, or even like what you've been doing. You've been crossing some of your stuff. You were telling me about working with a pinball company.
I'm going down to Cincinnati in a couple of weeks to go to the Cincinnati. I did the poster design for them, and I'm involved in the pinball industry now. I'm doing work for them, and eventually the goal is to get a machine, design a machine. I'm getting closer. I've been meeting the right people, and
I think the cat fink is the way to go. You have the different rat targets that you got to fucking shoot, and then it kills them in these really cool kind of like Rick and Morty kind of ways. You could and again you'd have to do some tricks with some of the licensing. Maybe get some fucking early Iron Maiden going in there, and
that would be one. That'd be great.
Well, listen, it's actually really weird now, because again, here's the analogy. Social media, you can't play commercially licensed music. So if one of the big record labels holds the license, like Sony, you can't fucking play it out there. But you can do the internet radio station as long as you pay ASCII or whoever it is, and you can play that fine, but you can't play it on YouTube or Facebook. However, if you're a cover band, you can play those songs all fucking day long, blast them out there, and it's just like, hi, it's me playing Freebird.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's no blink, there's no, and it's just this really odd dynamic. And, it's also reflective out here in Rochester, too, within the cover band scene. You know what I mean? There is no direct translation. Cover band, go out there, play the covers, et cetera, and, boom, 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 as long as they're not recording and selling them. But it's still utilizing the same dynamic, if you see where I'm going. So it's almost like this double standard that says, well, we're going to ignore it over here, but if you do it over there, we're going to shut you the fuck down.
Right.
Even though I do this, I don't charge for it. I'm not making, money on it really to any degree. And I'm trying to support the other people, but I have to, and we were talking about it before the show, I have to use the other elements. And it's great for the bands that are up and coming, you know what I mean? Like, Outlet Rain or Days End or any number of the bands that, we know. But I also, again, too, I can have those bands playing covers of whatever the fuck it is they want to play, and nobody blinks. Nobody says a word.
Right, exactly. I know it's well, yeah. The music industry and the artists will never be fair. That's for sure.
Now, what are your thoughts on like the paywall services to get to music, like the Spotify's and stuff like that?
I'm good with that. I mean, like, I pay every month for my Spotify. I don't mind. I get so much great music, but the record company screws so many people for so long. It's about time they got their fucking, you know what I'm saying? They're evil. They've always been evil. I have such resentments against
when is enough?
Right. I mean, I was out in California for 6 years, 7 years, I don't know, in the scene, dealt with all these assholes, these A&R guys with their bullshit lies, and just saw bands get signed and screwed, and they're scum of the earth, man. They always have been, they always will be. And now it's payback time, and the record companies aren't getting their money, and they're desperate, and they're doing whatever they can do. That's why Taylor Swift can go charge $30,000 for a front row ticket because some idiot's going to go buy it.
Well, I mean, some of this is the powers that be. I also look at it to the degrees, we got a lot of really shitty asshole scumbag promoters out there that just really,
do.
Again, don't do anything besides facilitate, and they don't even really do that well.
No. Club owners will always be. Club owners are scumbags too, because I've dealt with them for years. They don't give a shit about. Actually, when I first moved out to LA, I was like, you know what? This is a place where they're, if you're a good band, they're gonna get you. You're gonna get seen. They're gonna give you a shot. And no, it's not that way. It was every single club was about money grubbing, and you had to really dig to find somebody who actually gave a shit about music, and those clubs were very far in between. There's the Coconut Teaser was one of them. They gave bands a chance, man, to get in there. If you were a good band, they'd give you a shot. And it wasn't about how many people you were bringing in. And then on Monday nights, the Whiskey had this thing called the No Bozo Jam, and you had to. It was kind of like a juried thing. You had to be approved. You send your demo in. If they like you, they'll give you a shot. And if you're good and you show them that you're good, they're going to give you a better slot. And that's how they helped bands develop. They actually took an interest in them. But all the other clubs, Gazzari's, the Roxy, all those other shit Sunset Strip clubs, they're all about the money, and they were the pay to play.
Well, it's all about the illusion. You and I both know it. It is maintaining, that fallacy that, as long as everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid, then it's all fucking groovy.
So music's always been about, for me, I always thought, I didn't see it until you're really in this thing for years. The club owners are always going to be club owners, and they're going to about it for one thing and one thing only: the money and how much are people drinking. Once in a great while, you get somebody like you who actually believes in the art of music, and a few other people in this town that actually have passion for music that do it because they love it. And that Rockin' Oddities, Jem, she did a great job bringing in great artists and bands. There was no bad artists or bands there.
No, not at all. And let me tell you, she's on fire. She's taking, the elements, the lessons and the things and fine tuning it and expanding on it. And she truly is, engaged with it. It's something that she believes in. And this is where this is where that framework of the strength in numbers comes into play. Yes. The more that we can connect each other to this, and again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We don't have to agree on everything, but when we can just simplify some of the stupidity, it helps everybody. You know what I mean? Again,
well, if we're all coming from a passion of art and music, and we're for the same reason, it's going to be good. If we're coming at it from an idea of money and success and that kind of idealism of the money, then you're in the wrong business, man.
I mean, again, it's the fine line. Everybody's getting, we all got to cover our costs and things like that. But it is also, to some degrees, the old philosophy that you have to invest in it too. It isn't something that's just going to fall out of the sky like fucking snowflakes that you can just build a nice money igloo and hide in it. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, some people take that outside the box, you know what I mean? And we've, joked about this within the ego framework. Somebody had a hit, 38 years ago, and all of a sudden, you know what I mean, they're walking on water and converting, shit into wine, and their shit don't stink. And it's just like, man, you were in the right place at the right time, hats off to you, but what the fuck have you done since? It's just
right, exactly.
And I got no illusions on it. As far as I'm concerned, I do what I do because I like it. If somebody likes it, great. But I don't do it for those other reasons. Right. And, I guess it's easy for us because, we have that ethical line. We can stand back and point our finger and be like, yeah, he's a fucking asshole, isn't he? You know what I mean? And,
yes.
What are they going to do? What are they going to say? Yeah. You know what I mean?
I come from both ends of it. So I was in the music business before I was in the art business. And I made, and I was involved with all the money part. We had a deal. We had management. We had a record we put out. So I was part of all that and the money part. And it really destroyed the band, And then after that, now I do music because I love it. It's not about the money. But now I do art, and that's my living. And so it has to be about the money because this is how I survive. But I also understand that I still love it. Whether I was getting paid or not, I would still do it. But there comes a point where, as a businessman with my art stuff, I have to make certain decisions that aren't always popular. You know what I'm saying?
Well, some of that I think is reflective of wisdom, experience. When we're younger, let's be really let's be blunt. And you and I have had a couple of the conversations. We didn't give a fuck. We did not give a fuck.
Right.
And it reflected in some of the elements, but also too, there was no real framework to compare it against because it was all, to some degree part of the illusion. You know what I mean? Yeah. Especially when you're on stage, you got the lights, you got the people and everything that goes around. It's easy to get lost in it.
Yes, it is.
And then if you add anything else into the mix, it's
exactly.
It's fucking fear and loathing.
It was. Everything was thrown in the mix when I was out there, and I almost died from all of that. That's why I came back to New York, because that music business was going to kill me for the drugs and the booze and the. It's true. It's a cliche, but it's true. It became no fun anymore. Well,
I mean, ultimately, it's not real. It's so superficial that the energy that you have to put into to maintain the fucking illusion.
Yep.
And then everything you need to do to compensate, which really, let's be blunt, that's self-medicating. I don't care if it's fucking monsters or heroin or poppers or Twinkies. You see where I'm going? We tend to just find whatever works to compensate against all the other insanity, and eventually that falls apart. Now, obviously, within the club scene, it's usually drugs and alcohol, or worse type of behavioral dissent. I've seen guys throw their fucking marriages away. You know what I mean? Too. And like I've seen bands literally person by person replaced by the label until it's not even the same fucking man. And then when it doesn't work, they literally just like a half-eaten cheeseburger. They just toss it out the fucking window as they go down the fucking freeway.
Right.
And then you look at it in retrospect, and it's like, what the fuck was this?
Right. Then next thing you know, it's 20 years later, and you're coming out of Yeah. Then I swore one thing I never do, get involved in the music business. And half my artwork is for the music business.
Well, I think, again, with the experience comes the realization that, as with all things in life, if you don't at least make an attempt to do it right, to change the tempo, then really what room do you have to complain? I mean, don't get me wrong. Personally, I'd rather be wrong for the right reasons. I'd rather be able to stand there and say, you know what? I fucking tried. I didn't just sit around and watch it happen. I didn't just, pretend like it was somebody else's fucking problem. And, ultimately it goes back to that old narrative character. You know what I mean? If you really believe in something, if it's something important, it's worth fucking fighting for. Don't get me wrong. Again, you don't want to obviously push it to the degree, like using the analogy of a Kurt Cobain that, it ends up with an early death.
Yeah, yeah.
But, we can do a little bit, even again, if it's the simple things of liking and sharing, or, when you go to these shows, buy a T-shirt from Doug.
Yeah, exactly. Please buy my stuff.
Yes.
I'm still a starving artist, believe it or not.
But, or taking advantage when you do things, because listen, again, I bought those shirts, you know what I mean? And, I bought a lot of concert type T-shirts like this over the years. It's high quality stuff. You know what I mean? This is not
small. Yeah, I do limited runs of the shirts too. You know, I'll do a run of 50, and then I'll move on to a different. You know, so they're kind of like
they're collector's pieces to some degree.
Yeah. I only do like a run of 50 of them, and then I'll do another piece. You know, I'll do another design.
So people need to get over to dougmacart.com now and buy them while they are still available. They'll make great presents, by the way. Everybody's,
Absolutely.
you know, it's November. It starts, you know, thinking about the commercial element of the holidays. So
that's right.
We're going to push the narrative of support your local businesses.
Yes,
don't go on and buy them from Etsy and all these other shitty places that rip artists off. Go to the artists themselves.
That's why I don't deal with them. I do it all myself, man. It's like it's the best way to do it. Having control of your own stuff is the way to do it.
How was that learning curve for you? I had Shia do a bunch of the stuff for me because, you know, I've done advertising, I've done marketing and promotions and stuff, but some of it now, especially with the social media end, is just so fucking mind daunting that I don't even want to open Facebook sometimes. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah. It's no different than it's ever been. I'm hit the pavement, man. Like I'm going to Buffalo again to do a show out there they have an outdoor holiday market out there. I'm going to bring my stuff out there for a couple days, and then I'm going to the pinball show out in Cincinnati, and then, you know, traveling, and then, you know, finding people on the internet that I want to work for. Like I've been talking with a guy out in California who's got a hot rod company, and so I called him, I sent him out a postcard of my work, and then he looked at my stuff and he liked it. So now we're talking. So basically, it's just finding stuff I like, and then I'll approach them with my work and see if they like that. And if they like my work, then we start talking and develop a relationship, then do some work together. That's usually how I do it, just one person at a time.
So tell us about the InsaneSkins.com thing. This is something that's the guitar customization stuff. Now, is that something basically that your art has been now used within the process? Is that something that you do directly, or is that just kind of like a co-branded thing for anybody who wants, you know, a cool custom guitar thing?
Well, that's Insane Skins is a company out in California, and they make these things for the guitars, and I signed a licensing deal with them. So they got a bunch of my artwork, and I think I gave them 10 pieces of my art to make these guitar skins with. And when they sell them, I get a cut. I get a percentage of everything they sell. So
nice.
Some guy will go on their website and say, "Oh, I want that one," and they'll skin the guitar with it, and they'll send me a check.
All right, so they can't go to you directly to have their guitars done. They've got to go through them.
Yep, they go right to them. I got a bunch of different little licensing deals, like with different companies that, you know, they buy it and then they send me royalty checks.
Because they're really cool looking designs. Now, let me ask you something.
Really nice job.
Just as a guitar player, would you, as part of a custom job, do a custom guitar skin that could, like, again, be given to a guy who does that type of thing, or a girl? I don't want to, say that it's just guys, but you get where I'm going. So you could actually design a custom guitar skin.
Yes. Yep.
That could be a one-of-a-kind thing for somebody who's a performing artist.
Yes, or paint it. I mean, I got a bunch of my custom painted guitars on my website too. I did a collection of.
See, you're getting in my head again. I was just I was setting you up with a slow curve ball, and you were just like, you're already fucking swinging. So you could actually literally take a stripped down guitar and do this work without them having to send it to fucking California.
Right. No. Yeah. I custom paint guitars all the time. I did. I used to. I haven't in a while actually, but I did tons of Gibsons and Fenders for a collector out in New York. I did all top guitars, and they're on the website. There's pictures of them on it, and there's actually a Facebook page with it too, with my guitars. And so I custom paint guitars. They're all airbrushed and hand painted. Then they're clear coated. Then all the electronics are put back on after they come off and set up by a luthier. They're beautiful pieces. You know, one of a kind.
Yeah, I mean, I saw what you did with the Kalamazoo, and again, we joked about how you were thinking about selling it, and then you're like, I think I'm going to hang on to this and stuff like that.
Keep it that one. Yeah.
So what's up? The other thing was the stomp box. Where are things with that? Because I know you had brought it up, but there was a couple of technical things. You designed the artwork for it, and somebody else is actually designing the electronics. Where is that in the production schedule?
That is right on the Chuck over at Sound Source. Me and him came up with the idea, and then I did all the artwork, and we talked about what kind of sound we wanted. And then Chuck took it from there and got played around with a bunch of different sounds. He's a genius with all that stuff. And he got this really cool, crunchy, kind of a fuzz, crunchy pedal. And so he's waiting on the boards. He had all the boards made for him. We're just waiting for those to come in. Then we're going to start assembling them. And then hopefully they come with a T-shirt. They come with a really cool shirt, too. So they'll be out at the Sound Source, hopefully within, probably we ain't going to make it for Christmas, but within probably spring.
Cool. Definitely letting us know when that happens. We'll definitely push it out there. And I'm sure you're going to go over to House of Guitars and say, hey, put a couple of these in the shelves on demo.
Yeah, don't tell the House of Guitars. I work for 2 of the music stores and actually 3 of them in Rochester.
Well, listen, I mean, again, let's be honest, that this is the nature of the beast. Somebody
it really is, and
if they want exclusivity, they gotta put a ring on your finger, right?
Yes, that's right, they do, and they've all been great to me. I mean, I've done work for Record Archive, Sound Source, and House Guitars, and they're all awesome people, man. Especially the House Guitars, man. Those guys they've been so good to me.
Well, listen, it reflects, again, what you were talking about earlier, and we've kind of gone, and Brian Judah, it looks like he's dancing in the audience with us. It is the framework. We're all musicians, but we're all family guys to different degrees. We work, we live in the community, so we're trying to kind of, recreate some elements that we had when we were coming up. But also, we have the experience and the wisdom to say, you know what, it doesn't have to be this shitty kind of,
right.
We can do these things ourselves, cut out some of the middlemen and the bullshit.
Yep.
And
I'm all for it.
Yeah, and also, too, simply in the dynamic of getting the music out, because, again, that's half the battle. The record companies pretty much control the narrative. We only have a handful of companies that control most of the radio stations, at least in this country. So the programming is always the same, depending upon,
of course it is,
unless you jump over to like Sirius or, XFM and stuff, which, again, is really reflecting the same thing that's going on with the internet radio stations and stuff. It's just no holds bar. You got Ozzy's Boneyard and stuff like that. Do you think that ultimately is where the future is really going? Kind of like how 8-tracks just, went the way of the fucking Blockbuster Video.
Right.
You know what I mean? That it's really going to have to be adapted and recreated around it.
Yes. I honestly think that the beginning of a new thing, it's already happening, but it's going to have to be built from the ground up. I had to build this art business from getting a gig with one of my friends' bands, out in LA, doing a flyer design. Started with one person at a time. And it's like anything, it's about relationships. Yeah. Organic. But like this, it's all about relationships. Me and you have become buds now. And, we're on the same page, and Brian, same thing. Steve, there's 4, and Jem. I mean, we could keep going on and on. We're all. Oh,
listen, man, the list is growing.
Yes, it's growing.
We have Teresa from Hollowell, one of the other bands that played over with us at the House of Guitars that day.
Yeah.
Her and her band have been really supportive. She's really engaged in, pushing the narrative, not just promoting herself, but promoting, the other things you mentioned, Jem.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff, you got fucking crazy Ed Contini, who's, he's kind of quiet in the shadows, but let me tell you, he's got a heart full of soul, and, he's willing to jump in to the sewer, literally.
Right.
He's got that old school Carlin mentality. He's like, fuck it, man. What's a little bit of sewage, and just,
right, exactly.
That's what we got.
I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty.
He'll do the Escape from New York thing, and you know what I mean, and not even blink about it if it's, something that's going to help somebody.
Me too. I'm all about it, man. This community, there's a lot of creative and good musicians and stuff in Rochester, man. And it's we got to help each other out, man. It is the way it is, and especially now that comes with age too. When you're young and you're a young buck, you're fighting the system and you're fighting each band. You know, I mean, that's what it was in LA. It was stat, eat or be eaten. And now, man, it's just I don't live that way.
You know what? Maybe the narrative is also too is that we're actually more, I think, supportive of the younger generations than what we had coming up. Because you and I, we've talked about this. We don't want to get fucking, we're not embracing that old label bullshit. We're still younger than the guys in Metallica. We're still younger than fucking Keith Richards, as far as I'm concerned, until that motherfucker dies. You know what I mean? We've all got grace.
No, I want to see these young guys, these young bands. I'm in their corner, man. I'm rooting for them, especially if they're carrying on the tradition of our music, the hard rock and the metal, man. Yes, please do it so you can carry this on, because it's a wonderful music. I'm always going to be a metal guy. I'll always be a heavy metal, hard rock guy at heart. It's not over. This country thing's just a little break. Believe me, we're coming back. American Acid's going to be back, and we're going to be doing some recording and playing again.
Looking forward to that. I'm going to do a quick breakout. I've got Hollowell up on the board. They're going to be doing a show. I'm actually not going to be doing a podcast December 5th, Tuesday night, over at the Iron Smoke Distillery. Hollowell's going to be doing a really fucking great show. They're going to have a split thing. The first half is going to be the Interloop blog. It's going to be a comedy show with a bunch of comics. And then Hollowell's going to come out and do their fucking pounding rock set. And I think it's a great concept idea, because I think comedy and music really can go hand in hand. The same like kind of what we did with the Rockin' Oddities. You can bring these circles together. They can be witchcraft, they can be pagan, they can be art, they can be music, they could be the guy with the exotic, alligator beef jerky, or the dude who's just hanging out and making fresh squeezed organic lemonade for the people who don't want, some chemical bullshit.
Right.
But there are ways to bring these things together, and everybody involved, they are, again, local small businesses. None of these people are, corporate whoremongers or, have all these, insane, sponsor deals and stuff like that. So it really is the best case scenario to bring people together for these types of shows, to bring the music, bring comedy, bring laughter, bring magic, bring it all there. And it gives people a place to learn, to interact, be like, wow, I've never heard that before. That's really cool. Because, I mean, again, the Beatles were playing in fucking shitty dive places in fucking Germany. You know what I mean? Literally, they were playing for fucking beer money.
Yeah.
until somebody was like, these guys are pretty good.
Yeah. Everybody starts somewhere. You just don't come out and be a superstar, man. You got to start somewhere.
But this is the only way to get it out there, too, is, to go out there and see it, to be a part of it. Because, again, we all love a good recorded song, but the real fun, the energy is live. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Brian's like, sup? Yeah, Brian knows what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, he plays in two bands, and, he's been doing it for years, just like we have.
Yes, he has.
There's a certain magic about it when you get a group of people together and you can tap into that energy.
Yes, it's a wonderful thing. Absolutely.
Cool. So we're going to take a break. I'm going to... You know what? I'll leave that up there. I'm going to play one of Hollowell's tracks, their video track for No Wings, and then we'll be back.
They told
All right, so welcome back. Yeah, that was Hollowell. Their track No Wings. They're going to be performing again Tuesday, December 5th over at the Iron Smoke Distillery. Really great band. It's going to be a really great show. I'm going to be out there, and a bunch of us are going to be out there. And his brother Brian Judah and Tamara said, yes, great song. Great song. So I'm going to keep this going. I'm going to extend the break a little bit. This is a track, okay, from my brother Pete Pallas and his band Annika. They were at the Rock and Oddities Con. This is a thing that was born out of his interactions with a wrestler by the name of the Ultimate Warrior. And it is, part of it is a recorded piece from him, from Emerson, that Pete kind of created into a track after, the guy died. And they had been friends. He really had loved the music and stuff, but it was something that Pete really wanted to see happen. So it's one of the tracks that I really love from them, and I go back to it because I understand not only the rationale and the emotional dynamic doing the stuff that I've done with the Under My Skin for Life Foundation for years. I've met a lot of wrestlers. I became friends with Jimmy Snuka and some others, and these elements, it doesn't matter, they all cross, you know what I mean? They can be professional sports and witchcraft and music and comedy. These guys would come out, they would support the elements of what we were doing. They were humble, they were generous, and they were great people. So this is a testament to one of them. Another great band, Annika. They're going to be doing a show, I believe it's December 2nd in Brooklyn. I got to get the details, but I'll be promoting that out. So any of my Brooklyn brothers and sisters, yeah, definitely get down there and see Annika. Great fucking band. Listen, as a live performing band, they are just incredibly powerful. Same as Alloy Rain, same as Hollowell. These aren't bands that are just doing studio recordings. These are bands that perform. So enjoy a little bit of the Father Time trilogy, and I'll be back.
For the time, the lessons that I've learned, the lesions that I've earned were so unkind, so unkind. Fading mind, the forces that decide in your heads reside. You're so divine, so divine. Wasted time. The heartache that you spurn, the faith that
whim of the tide, rising from the depths of my soul, heart and mind. Taking on my own restoration against time. Off the beaten path that I paved, made it mine. Never knew the price that I pay over time. And now as I stand at the end of all things, so unafraid of what the moment brings. lessons that I've learned, the lesions that I've earned were so unkind, so unkind. Feeding mind, the forces that decide in your heads reside. You're so divine, so divine. Wasted time. The faith that you burned, it was all mine, all mine. Forsaken by my father time.
To believe your own thought, believe that what is true for you in your private heart is true for all men, that is genius. Speak your latent conviction and it shall be the universal sense. For always the inmost becomes the outmost, and our first thought is rendered back to us by the trumpets of the last judgment. Familiar as the voice of the mind is to each, the highest merit we ascribe to Moses, Plato, and Milton is that they set at naught books and traditions and spoke not what men, but what they thought. Man should learn to detect and watch that gleam of light which flashes across his mind from within, more than the luster of the firmament of bards and sages. Yet, he dismisses without notice his thought, because it is his. In every work of genius, we recognize our own rejected thoughts. They come back to us with a certain alienated majesty. They teach us to abide by our spontaneous impression with good-humored inflexibility. Then most when the whole cry of voices is on the other side. Else tomorrow, a stranger will say, with masterly good sense, precisely what we have thought and felt all the time. And we shall be forced to take with shame our own opinion from another. Bravely let him speak the utmost syllable of his confession. We but half express ourselves and are ashamed that divine idea which each of us represents. But God will not have his work made manifest by cowards. Good night.
Very powerful track. Great band, great guys. Pete, love you, man. Can't wait to see you and the family again. Always a pleasure. Now, I want to shout out some of the other people that dance around within our circles. And I'm going to scroll down here because Shia has it all set up nicely in this nice little promo folder. Ta-da! Lily and Nona's Emporium. Items created and curated into timeless treasures and handcrafted wonders with style. You can check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/Lily and Nona, a.k.a. Diana Nativia. Really, really beautiful women. They are and really have become now part of our extended family. Brian Judah knows what I'm talking about. Ed Contini knows what I'm talking about. We love the women in our lives. Shia is part of this element within the witch stuff that she does. So it's just a growing expansion upon, the things that we've all been doing. And it's beautiful to see that creative process coming out. Shia, Lily, and Nona will be out at Mythic Treasures again December 9th for another Saturday of the Mythic Fairs. They're over in the Top Shopping Center there in Henrietta. I'll get some promo materials for next time to keep people in the loop. I also want a special shout out to my sisters, Elsbeth and Elizabeth, for making the journey up this weekend to come and hang out. Sisters, you are beautiful. Elsbeth especially, thank you so much for the grape ginger ale. Oh, my son was just, his eyes were gleaming. I walked in with those bottles. I was like, look what I fucking got. You ain't getting none. Ha ha. But of course I gave it to him. But one of those bottles disappeared within minutes. Literally minutes. It's just that fucking good. And to address the earlier dynamic of the autocorrect, that's what happens to witches when they try and type in technology. Okay? This is just a known thing. Okay? So, for all you witches out there, yeah, you got to get your magic in tune with technology. I've said it before. What was magic 100 years ago is technology today. Technology today will be magic tomorrow. It's a big infinite loop within the Contini context. So fucking handle it, woman. Love you. I also want to shout out some of the other small business people. Okay. I think this is, yes, the Witch Coaches Sanctuary and Marketplace. You can find her. This is another one of the things that Shia does to support and encourage other magical purveyors. She also has her mentorship circle, which you can find on Facebook, ladyshia.com, which is a really cool place to learn and interact and really kind of get a deeper understanding of all those things witch oriented. I obviously have my Monday night show, 9 p.m. to midnight over on WRFC, Rochester Free Radio, 106.3 FM. Yeah, fucking RochesterFreeRadio.com, because I can say it like that. But yeah, a lot of great people, a lot of great shows over there. I want to especially shout out my sister, Ashley Hart, Heart's Creations, Dreamcatchers with Intentions. She's an amazing soul, does some beautiful work. We have several of her dream catchers here. We've also had her do a couple of custom ones for the autism events and things like that. A lot of really beautiful, cool people. We got Suzanne over with Mystical Moons. You can find her at mysticalmoons.com. She also has a lot of really cool different things, crystals, jewelry, decorations, and supplies. A lot of stuff that she does is really beautiful. And then we got our sisters, Bobby and Sherry, down there in Texas, and Moonbeams. And again, similar type of stuff, but they actually have a physical location, and they're doing their stuff. But you can also find them on Facebook and Instagram. mention the witch to any of these people and you will be taken care of. Now, again, I mentioned these guys earlier, but since I know they're floating around, I mentioned earlier, Rockin' the Rock. Brian Judah, Sundays, 12 to 3 p.m. over in WRFZ. Does a really cool show. Dances with a lot of not only local original music, but he gets into some other really interesting things. Him and Ed did a radiothon over the weekend where they were focusing on veterans issues. Sometimes they'll get into football. Sometimes they get into, religious rap music. That was a new one. Inside joke. But he does it with such humility and a genuine love for what he does, on top of being a fucking musician, and a really good musician as well as that. Of course, I mentioned my brother Ed Contini and his Over the Ed show Thursdays, 3 to 5 p.m. We got to get him a new promo, I think. I think we need to get Doug to do him something fucking off the wall and crazy, kind of like what he did for Steve Litzak. I can see that in the future. But both of these guys, I call them brother. I love them. And they're part of the future that we are building. There's lots of great people within these circles. You got Danny, you got Amy and her kids. You got Joyce and Lucy down in Florida, who I know Diane wants them to come back up here. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That's right. It's up here in New York. That's the place to be. A lot of great stuff. As I mentioned, the Rockin' Oddities is going to happen in 2024. I know brother Brian Judah is working on Slosh Fest for next year. So much groovy stuff. I'm going to get my brother Tony Rodriguez somehow, some way, make all that stuff happen. I want to talk about two other bands. I've had this band on the show a couple times. I'm going to have them back again when they have some new material, and they're also working on a new video. That band is Bonded by Darkness, my brother Josh and his girl Raven. And another band that's kind of within their circle, and I actually got turned on to through them, Frail. I spoke with Gwen the other day, and she will be the first interview on the Music and Magic Show on WRFZ, January 2024. So Frail will be joining us to talk about what they've got going on, and Gwen and I are talking about getting them up here to play at least one of the shows that are going to be going down. Really fucking great band. So I'm going to, again, cut to some music, back to back, a little bit of Frail, Bright Eyes, and a little bit of Bonded by Darkness, Dancing on Your Grave. And then we'll be back.
You were born to go away, not in the dirt, you will lay. I told you not to come for me. 6 feet under, we were meant to be.
So yeah, close out that 3-pack with a little bit of Phantom High with the remastered, re-vocaled, and retuned Black Divine. Any of you who knew that track when Peril first released it, had a much different vocal element to it. And when I had her on the show, she was very, very adamant about, she wanted to go back and wanted to redo it. And this is reflective of the art process. She's also a guitar player, so I understand the dynamic, especially when releasing your own music. We're always our worst critics, but I think it's a great piece, and I think it's fucking powerful. Really looking forward to seeing what she's going to be bringing out in 2024. We also had, obviously, Frail, Bright Eyes, another really great track. Really love the sound. I love the artistry with how they produce their stuff. And we started that off with Bonded by Darkness. Brother Josh just fucking brings the power, and Raven's just, she taps into that witch vibe. And, it's a really beautiful thing when you can see people bring their authentic elements out. It's not easy because it's not commercially viable most of the time. It requires a lot of commitment. Josh will be the first one to tell you spend a lot of fucking money to do these things. So we're all kind of learning. It's part of the reason I kind of built a small home studio. It's part of the reason Brother Chaos, Ed Contini, and I are building another studio in his basement. It's why we got the studio over at the radio station with Brother Judah helming that. And we're going to continue to build and expand on those elements with the people around us who want to go along for the ride. Strength in numbers. It's what it's all about. Really want to thank my brother Doug for coming out. Art for Sickos. I got to throw that graphic up there again. Make America hate again. Yeah. Just a really, really fucking powerful image. Definitely check him out. Okay, you can find him on Facebook and Instagram and online, all that really, really groovy stuff. And he's got, like I said, a special going right now, DougMacArt.com. It's got some specials on some really great original design t-shirts. These are limited editions. If you're a musician, you want one of those custom guitars, hook up with the man. You want to design a band logo, you want to design an album, you want to design any number of really wild, creative things, he's the guy to go to. So definitely check him out again. Doug Mac Art. And that's DougMacArt.com. For those of you who are listening to the podcast and can't actually see that graphic up there, with Bill Mosley basically saying, hey, buy that shit or he will kill you. That's fucking great marketing, man. I mean, right to the point. George Carlin would be fucking proud. Buy it or I'll fucking kill you. Now, anybody who's seen The Devil's Rejects or A House of Thousand Corpses, nobody wants fucking Bill showing up with an attitude, man. That's bad dream shit. So go out, grab a shirt, show some love. Hey, listen, all joking aside, even if you can't, and listen, I understand times are tough sometimes for folks. Sometimes this is a luxury that we just simply can't afford. Give them a like, give them a share. Say, hey, thanks for what you do. And he does a lot of shows that are free shows. So if you're in the Rochester area, come and check out the Mick and Mac show. He's got some other stuff coming down the pike. It's going to be harder. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to fucking encourage it. And as mentioned also, too, there will be no podcast December 5th because survey says, yeah, I'm going to be fucking there. I'm going to be at the Iron Smoke Distillery December 5th for Hollowell and the Inner Loop blog comedy show. That's going to be a fucking blast. Now, again, I'm going to put this up here because I think it's important. You know what I mean? We don't want to confuse certain things.
The following program contains coarse language, a lot like real life.
Now, I'm not saying this is Yoko shitting in a bucket. I will leave that for you to decide.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Yes, viewer discretion is always advised. So I'm going to close it out tonight with another great local band from over toward the fight. Yeah, Teresa shows up for the Yoko part. I use that on my radio show. I'm going to be using that like going forward. I'm going to play at the beginning of my shows. I'm going to throw it periodically when I know I'm going to go down a fucking rabbit hole that may or may not trigger somebody. I need you guys. Hey, Teresa, since you're listening to me, and this is going to be one of those live on air moments, get with John and Tyler. If you could do me a promo again for the Dancing with Wolves show for that December 5th show, if you guys get it to me before next week's show, I'll play that on here. I can't play it on this because it's a WRFZ thing. So I can talk about it, but I can't actually play it. Yeah, welcome to the fucking wonderful world we live in. But we're going to be at that show, so we'd like to do everything we can to support it. So if you guys could do a mix, all you really got to do is just edit that beginning part and just put it for Dancing with Wolves. And listen, you guys can go to town. You can be like, hey, fuckity fuck, 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 fuck. Okay, you can use all the fucks you want in that one because it's going to be played on the podcast and nobody gives a fuck. You know what I mean? The FCC can't do a fucking thing. Okay? And listen, again, it's the choice between that or Yoko Ono shitting in a bucket. Go back and watch last week's podcast for that little ditty. That was a lot of fun, and that one's still rattling around in my head. I think it would be a good performance piece. I think it'd be a great thing to raise money for charity. I'm seriously thinking about sending it an email just for shits and giggles, just to see how her people would reply. I mean, really, all she's got to do is show up and shit in a bucket, right? For a good cause. I don't think that's too much to ask. Maybe it's me. I don't know. People have done far worse for fucking far less. But again, that's just me. So I'm going to close it out tonight with, again, another really cool local band. This is a guy I met through Brian Judah and Jane Evil, Bradley, Dangerous Beauty. This is James Manny, Brother Manny. Yeah, I you know what I did? I forgot the bag over her head. So she could have plausible denial. I guess we could bring a body double in, but I don't know how that's going to fly with the whole licensing element. But, it's worth a try. And I know John feels as long as it's not the fucking Beatles, he'll be happy. You know what I mean? So we'll find a middle ground somewhere where everybody can be fucking happy. That's going to be a great comedy show, by the way, the Interlude blog. And then Hollowell just banging it afterwards. That's going to be the place to be Tuesday, December 5th. But back to the other band. Teresa's distracting me. This band again, Brother Manny, Eyes of Odin. They're slowly releasing their tracks. They're building on a little bit different of a style element. And it's really cool. Okay. I really appreciate him as a guitar player. He's a really cool guy besides. So in the spirit, again, of supporting local musicians, people in our circles and stuff like that, Brother Manny, Eyes of Odin, we're going to close it out tonight with Monster in Me. And next week, I'm going to have my sister Gia on, and I have no idea where the fuck that's going to go because my sister, she's got some deep magic and some serious energy. So I may not make it out of that one alive. I'm hoping I will, but she's really, really cool. I've wanted to have her on the show for a few. There are a few people, and I put it out there all the time. Listen, if you want to come on, you want to promote your music, promote your art, promote your poetry, whatever, you want to rant, reach out to me, wolf@oldwolfmusic.com, okay? You don't need a booking agent, okay? You don't need a press release. I'm pretty easy to dance with. It's pretty simple. You don't even have to, go on camera. A lot of people are, I don't want to be. You don't have to. It's just a conversation, just like any other fucking conversation. But it can be framed around whatever you like. So again, wolf@oldwolfmusic.com. Try and hang in there. Again, next week, Gia. That's going to be a really cool special episode. There will be no show December 5th. Again, Hollowell, Iron Smoke Distillery, 6:30 p.m., Rochester, New York. Come on out. Okay? It's going to be a fucking blast. So until next time, check out The Monster in Me.